What is the question? You're asking something. You're not able to build it.
When you log into the Jenkins for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
that initial admin password file, I was able to find it and I was put it and I was able to log in. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go and create a new user, like the admin, another user,
Mm-hmm.
and when you create a user, it asks you for the password, and you have to give the same password. But now I can't find the file, so I was thinking, is it just one time, or it's always stays there? Or
Uh,
you got
let
my
me.
point or no?
Yeah, I got it. Let me check. It's there. It's always there.
It's always there. Eh? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know why. What happens to
But if
my
you forget the password or if you're not able to log in, you can always disable the security from the configuration file. There is a
that I have did.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
When you
that's what.
create a user, actually you have to give the permissions for the first time only.
Yeah.
From the matrix-based security, you give all the permissions to that user so that you can log in next time. If you don't give the permissions, just create the user and you come out and try to log in, it will not work because you don't have any permissions.
Okay. So basically, anytime you need to create a new user account on Jenkins, you're going to use the same password, right?
No, it's like
For the
when you create a user, you can ask to set a password for the first time. We have some options like that. When you ask, when a user is created, there is option to always sign up, and while signing up, it will ask to create a password, right? So that password we need to use. Allow users to sign up. There is an option. If you click on it, and when you log in for the first time, it will ask to sign up, and while signing up, it will ask the username and the password to set.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, maybe you can show just create like any other user, let's say ABC, and make him admin, and let's say.
Yeah. Let me check if Jenkins is up.
Also, Santosh, for the videos, we did the class on Saturday, right? And
Yeah.
they didn't send the video because I had a I had some time over the weekend to practice it, but we don't have the video to go through again. So can you ask them just after the class, just send us a video so we can at least
Sure.
practice
Sure.
this?
Yeah. So manage Jenkins. Under manage Jenkins, you have
I think it's under security. Yes. Yes.
yeah security. Under security, it is the option to allow users to sign up.
Okay. Allow you to sign up. Okay.
Yeah, if you click on it, it will ask to sign up. Okay, or if you know that you are going to add a user,
Yeah.
then
That's the
you can give
ABC.
permissions to this guy. Something like, let us say admin one. I'm going to create
Yeah.
add admin one. This user doesn't exist. That's why it shows like this stripe now.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
you give the permissions to admin one,
Yeah. You give all the permissions. Okay.
all the permissions, then save.
Yeah. Your Jenkins is a little slow today.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay,
if you log
then
out and log in.
log in. See, create an account if you're not a member. So this
Okay.
is sign up. So here we can sign up. Let us say admin
Oh,
one,
there you put
the
the password.
password, and admin one,
Okay. So that
admin one. You
option,
can have
because you
admin.com.
check, since you check that option, now sign in, that's why you get that option, like, okay.
Yeah. Then you have all the permissions. A user is created, admin one. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Now, one more quick thing. Is there any CentOS machine up and running?
This is CentOS.
Okay. I'm trying to put the static IP, and I don't know. I tried everything, so because every time it's changed the password, right? So you go back and forth and update. So this
Which
is
password for the server?
no, I'm trying to put the static IP here. So how would I do the static IP? Let's say I have this 192 IP or 10.0.41 IP. I want to
There
make this.
is a way to set IP for Vagrant user even before you create, right? So in the Vagrant file itself, you can mention that IP. Uh,
Okay, so you have to mention that in the background
so
file, not on
yes.
not the host level, not here. Okay.
Yeah, here also you can set, but because of DHCP, I don't think it works. Maybe you need to change that as well. etc sysconfig network scripts. So there is a file called ifcfg and the adapter name that we need to change with the name of the adapter. This boot protocol is equal to DHCP. This you need to make it to static.
Okay, I tried that already. Yeah.
And you need to give us in, but I don't think this will work because Vagrant takes care of the internal networking, right? So the best way is to set the IP even before we start the VM. So in the Vagrant file itself, we have an option to set the IP to some 192.168 something. Then it will take that IP and it will never change.
Okay, so set it in the Vagrant file itself. You can give
Yes.
any IP. You can give 192.168 IP, right?
Yeah, generally what do we give is 192.168.
Yeah. Because those like Linux, because normally you have Ethernet, Ethernet 0 as a
ETH 0. Yeah.
yeah. But in this case, we don't have. Okay, this is how. Okay, this is a net adapter. This is a network adapter. Okay, this is private network. Okay, private network. Okay.
So we can give for public as well. Let me see the option.
Using specific IP. Create public network. Okay. You know, I will try. I will try myself, and then I'll let you know.
Yeah, you can try. Let me know if it doesn't work. It's actually there is option to directly create. I think this is there in the document also. So it's like
Yeah.
in the Vagrant file itself, public network is there, right? There you mention one more field like IP is equal to 192 something, and then it will pick up that IP.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sure. Okay. Or even whatever the IP is already assigned to VM, we can put that IP in the background file and bring it up to see if that works.
Uh,
Because in my case, the public IP is anyways 192.168, but it's keep changing, right? So
okay, so maybe you need to hard the VM or reprovision or something. If it's already there, hard the VM
oh,
and set the IP and then bring it up.
okay. Yeah.
So that
Okay,
you
that's
can
a good
try.
idea.
Okay.
Sure.
So any other questions? So we have seen manage plugins, installing a plugin, and we have seen the integration, right? Then let us try to install one more plugin, that is Ansible. I'll just install this. Install without restart. Now in this job, I'll configure Ansible as well. So I'll just go to configure. So we have Git repository and we have this is cron tab syntax, right? So this is like when do you want to execute the job? You want to poll for it every day, every minute, something like that. We can, all stars indicates that this will run every minute. Okay, the first star indicates minutes, right? So let us say I want to run for every 5 minutes. So I can specify like this. I think this we have seen in the Unix classes, like how cron tab works. Every 5 minutes. This runs for every 5 minutes. Or there is also syntax like h by 5. This is also indicates same. This runs for every 5 minutes. So in 1 hour, it runs for every 5 minutes. Or let us say every day, 10 o'clock in the morning. So this is 10th hour, right? So the second is for the hour. Every day, 10 a.m. Or if I specify something like this, when does this run? Every day?
Five p.m.
So this runs every day, 5 p.m. This is 24 hours format. So 10 indicates that it's at 10 o'clock in the morning. So 17 indicates that it's at 5 p.m. in the evening, right? Or let us say I want to run star 10, comma 17 star star star. So this will run every day 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Right? So this way we can schedule the jobs based on the this requirement. So every minute you want to poll and check for the build, every 5 minutes, every 1 hour, or every day in the morning, something like that, we can poll based on the schedule, right?
It will run, let's say run and check any changes in the GitHub code. And then
Yes.
Basically, if there are changes, it will be integrate with Maven and
Right.
change the binary files, right?
Yeah, so it does everything. It polls if for the changes. If there is any change, it will create a new job. If there is no change, it will not do anything. So if we do it for every minute, so there will be a load on the machine on the Jenkins server because it polls every minute. So if we don't want to poll every minute, maybe we can schedule something like every 1 hour or every 2 hours. So based on the check-ins. If there are not too many check-ins, then we can schedule something like every day at 10 o'clock or 5 p.m. in the evening. Right.
Okay. So is it going to be overwrite existing binary files?
Yes, it will overwrite. So once we have, let us say the job is executed at 10 o'clock in the morning, and again it's executed in the 5 p.m. in the evening, then in the workspace it is going to overwrite the binaries and it will create the new binaries. But all the binaries will be present in the Artifactory or Nexus. In Nexus, you will have all the binaries with the timestamp. So at any point of time, you can go back.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So workspace will be overwritten, but this binary is based on these binaries are based on the timestamp, right? So it will be available. So even if some build goes wrong, we can always go back and download this and get the latest binaries. I mean the previous binaries.
Okay. So use the previous binary. Okay. If we have to. Okay.
Yes. So since we have Ansible playbook, let us try to copy the same thing to the test machine. Invoke Ansible playbook. So this is the path to which this is the path where the playbook is present. So etc Ansible playbooks. Let us say sample.yaml, right? And then credentials we need to add. So let us say I'll add credentials. Username is root. Password is root123. Root and root123 and save. So what is happening?
Santosh,
Yeah.
we are using public key and private key, right? Why are you using a password here?
You mean while connecting to server to slave?
Yeah.
Because
Do we need
everything-
to add password here because we are using a
I got question. I got your question. But what happens is with which user this command will be executed on the Jenkins slave?
Okay.
No, with which user when I execute a
Jenkins.
command ls, when I execute a command ls, any command from Jenkins will be executed as
Jenkins.
Jenkins user. But what did we set up? The setup is for root, right? Root from master, Ansible master, talks to root as root to slave, right?
Okay.
Since I am running as a Jenkins user, so definitely it will fail because there is no passwordless authentication between the master and the slave as Jenkins user, but it is set up as root. That is the reason why I am giving password here. Or if you don't want to give like that, then what we can do is we have to set up this thing between the agents. You need to set up password as Jenkins to root, right? We have already set up password authentication, but as a Jenkins to Jenkins user, we created a Jenkins user on the slave. But to run this playbook, we need to set up between the Jenkins user on the master to root user on the slave. That's passwordless authentication is not set up. That's why I'm giving the password so that when it executes this, it logs in as a root and then executes it. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So see here, if you understand what is the flow, there is GitHub, which is like a code repository, right? Then there is then what happens once Jenkins polls every minute, so a developer is checked in. Then what is the next step happens?
Maven gonna be.
Jenkins polls 1 minute, let us say every 1 minute it is polling, and let us say detected that there is a change. What is the next thing happens?
Integrate with
using Maven.
It creates a job. The first thing happens is it creates a job in Jenkins, right? Then what happens? Next step.
integrate if it depends with what is the goal in Maven. So if you can install it or
So first thing is it downloads the source code to Jenkins workspace. Then what happens?
okay,
First
what
step
into
is,
the what into the
then
binary.
after downloading, then it calls Maven. Based on the goal, it executes. What is the goal? So based on the goal, it will execute. MVN test means it will test it. MVN, let us say install is there. So it will execute all the goals prior to that, right? So what is the next step? So this goal will basically convert the source code to
Binaries.
binary. Then what is the next step?
It's deploy to the Nexus.
Deploys to
Nexus.
Then what is the next step?
And delivery, I think.
So this has to be the binaries has to be have to be copied to test nodes or stage nodes or production nodes or whatever, right? So here it's like Jenkins master is there, Jenkins slave is there.
How we can verify that it creates a job in Jenkins?
As soon as we have checked, I think, right? As soon as we change something, it is actually downloading, right? Okay, I think we did not see. Let me show one sample project. I think we have seen that. So this is the one where I have given my GitHub repository, and if I go to GitHub,
No, job you mean build job or
yeah,
like
build. So this will be triggered, right? So you mean job means
build job under the
this
project,
build
right?
will be started. This build will this project will be started, and there is a new build that is 4. So if I change
Okay.
something here, it immediately starts the 4th build, right? So that is what I mean by changing. Let us say what is the repository I'm polling. I can see it here.
So if you see that the new build is started, it means it kick in the new changes, right?
Right. So it downloads. So basically this is the repository September 9th or something. Then I'll go here and then I'll just change something. Let us say index.html is there. So I'll edit new change. Right, and then commit the changes. But this is not how a developer changes. He goes to GitHub and he first add, then commit, then push the changes to repository. But just for example, I changed it manually, direct commit to master branch. Then let us see if this creates a new job. So after a minute or so, it should start a new build called new build with the number 4, right? Because it polls every minute, and if polling detects that there is a change, it will create a new build after a minute. What is my polling interval? Okay, there is no polling. So this should be, we have to set this. H1 means every 1 minute. All stars also states that it's 1 minute, right?
Oh, so you have to mention both? Okay, all stars is fine, okay.
Let us see, this should work actually. So every minute it should poll. So there is a new job started with number 4. So we didn't start it automatically, it started, it picked up, and it is, what it will do, the next step is, it will download it to the Jenkins workspace. And if I go to the Jenkins workspace, where is this downloaded? This is downloaded to master or slave?
I think we selected slave in the job.
Slave, I think.
Yeah, so it will download to home, Jenkins workspace, and what is the project name? Sample project 2. And now if I open index.html, there is a new change, right? This is what we added. So that change which developer has done is now in Jenkins workspace on the slave. Now Maven will convert this to binary, and that binary will be copied to the test nodes. So this is the flow, right?
There was one more file project at temp. What that file was, remember when you
Project?
Yeah, this one temp, like sample project 2 at the rate of temp TMP.
I think we modified this. This was the old one. So we have written some changes to this project. So that was
Okay.
this was the old project, I think.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the flow actually. So now this step is remaining. Like we need to copy to test notes using Ansible playbook. Right. So we have Jenkins master, Jenkins slave, and let us say we have test notes. Right. So from Jenkins, this now we have code here. Source code is there and it is converted to binary, and those binaries have to be copied to test notes, right? So we can have something like Ansible master configured on the Jenkins slave itself, or we can have separately, right? So here also I can have something like Ansible master, and then we have test notes. So from Jenkins slave, we copy the binaries to Ansible master, and then Ansible master will copy it to test notes. Or we can have something like Ansible master downloading directly from the Nexus and copying to test notes. Or we can have anything, something like our Ansible, my Jenkins slave and Ansible master both are same. Then I have my binaries on the Ansible master itself. Then I can write a simple playbook that will copy it to test notes, right? But before that, we need to configure Jenkins slave as Ansible master, and we need to configure these as Ansible slaves. So what do you mean by configure? We just add the IPs to inventory, and then we write a playbook, and that will copy the binaries from Ansible master to test notes. When there is a change, that change is copied to Jenkins slave. Maven will convert that to binary. Those binaries we need to copy to test node. So those binaries to copy from Jenkins slave to test node, we need to configure one machine as the master, the other machine as the slave. This is Ansible master. So I can have Jenkins slave as the Ansible master, so that this master will copy the changes to test nodes, right? Is this clear?
Yes.
Right. So how do we write a playbook? So that's this thing we can use, right? What is the module we use to copy?
One more thing, Santosh. If we have to bring salt in the same scenario, where we can put the salt?
Yeah. So here instead of Ansible master, we have to put salt.
Okay.
I think it's also called salt server and salt minions instead of agents.
Santosh, after Maven build, it is going, the WAR files is going to be copied to Nexus repository, right?
Right. Yes. After Maven build, it will be copied to, it will be deployed to Nexus repository. Right. So we want to copy the module. We want to copy the WAR files to test nodes from Jenkins slave. Let us say now what is the module I need to use to copy the WAR files?
Or is it a shell module or a copy or file module?
What is the module to copy text file? Index.html. What is the module to test copy cloud.png?
I think it's file. File
Right.
module?
This copy
Template.
module. File module is just to create a file, a directory or a file, right? So this module, copy module, we need to use that will copy the file from Jenkins to Jenkins slave to Ansible test nodes, right?
Yeah.
So where do we give information about the test nodes?
In
Ansible host file.
Ansible inventory.
Yeah, so etc Ansible inventory. So here we create a group, something like test. Under test, we specify what all my test nodes. So this particular binary will be copied to all the test nodes. Then if you have something like some project specific commands, those also we can mention in the module so that they will be executed, like something like start the application, stop the application, start the application, then do something, so that these changes will come into effect, right? So there are different ways based on the requirement we can choose. You have to have separate Ansible master. I don't want to club Jenkins slave and Ansible master, or it's like I can have Jenkins slave and Ansible master together on one node. So based on the requirement, we can choose and we can configure, right? And we can use this playbook to copy the WAR file to test nodes, right?
Santosh, is the inventory file the same that we used previously where we mentioned web servers? And
Yes, they're the same.
That was the host file, no? Ansible host file?
Yeah, this is same inventory or host file.
Okay.
Where we specify the web servers, DB servers and all. Okay, so now for showing this, I need to have three nodes. One is Jenkins master, the other is the Jenkins slave, and I need to have a test node, right? So I don't have that right now. So what I'll do is I'll just configure Jenkins master, and then I have slave, right? So I'll configure this only as my Ansible master, which is my Jenkins master, and then let us say this is my test node. Right, so since I only have two nodes, I'll download everything. This is the standalone master. It downloads it, it converts this binary on the master. Then since Ansible is already there here, I'll copy from here to test node. So I only have two nodes, right? So we'll try that. So first I'll go to, let us say I don't have the slaves. So I'll remove the slave. Manage nodes. Delete agent. Yes. So I only have master now. Now if I execute, this job gets executed on the master, and it downloads to workspace, it converts to binaries, then it executes this playbook that should copy it to the test node, right? So I have sample.yaml. Let me see what is there in the sample.yaml. etc Ansible playbooks sample.yaml.
But Santosh, some of the projects we mentioned to use slave one only, right? And if we delete the slave one agent, because we hard coded to run those projects on slave one only.
Sorry, I didn't get. So we have tied the project to run on slave one only. Okay.
And now we deleted the slave one, right? We deleted the agent.
Yeah, because to explain this how Ansible uses, I need to have three nodes. One is the master.
Okay.
The other is slave. The other is the test node. Right now I only configure two nodes, right? So I have Jenkins master and I have Jenkins slave. To simulate the exact this thing, what I did is I don't, let us say I don't have slave now. Everything runs on the master. So job runs on master, downloads the code on the master, converts it to binary on the master itself, and then Ansible, my Jenkins master is also my Ansible master. So the code is available here, binary is available here, and they use Ansible to copy that to test nodes.
Yeah, Santosh, my question was that if we have a project that is tied with slave one, okay, and if the slave one is down for some reason, is that the project going to be won't run, or it's going to be go to the another? It will run on master.
It will not run. It will fail, saying that agent is not available.
Okay. Okay.
So let us say I have this sample.yaml. I'll take a backup before modifying it. So this install HTTPD, start the service, and what is the change I need to do to copy those binaries to test notes?
We have to change the task, right? We change it's going to be a different
So
task.
what is the task I need to change?
Copy. Yeah.
So I'll remove this template, copy the var file from
Yes.
server to test notes. And what is the path we want to copy? Where does the binary stored? This is on the master.
The binary is stored on a slave, right?
Now I remove the slave, right?
No,
There is
no,
no
no.
slave.
In master, I think in workspace, Jenkins workspace, right?
Yeah, what is it in master?
Target. The binary
Full path. The full path.
Okay. Source SRC.
No, full path. This is not absolute
Mhm.
path. It's complete path we need
Okay.
to give.
Home directory of Jenkins and where live Jenkins.
Workspace, then
SRC.
let us see var lib Jenkins, then workspace, then the name of the project. So it will create a project. So I know that it will create a project. So I'll just give the name of the project here. So what is the name of the project? This is my name of the project, right? So I copy this here. Then I'll go to workspace, then name of the project, then target, right? Then game of life web, then game of life dot var, right? Is this right? Then we copy it to var www, let us say HTML. Is this right? The path?
Yeah.
Let us try to execute. I have a playbook that gets executed as part of a Jenkins job. So it should download and it executes the Maven target that will convert it to binary. Now, let us say I don't want to execute Nexus because I'm directly taking from the machine itself. So I'll remove this step. Okay, now I have the playbook. So let us see executing it and see what happens. So it will download from the repository, which is Game of Life repository. Where is my job? Yeah, it's downloading and it is executing the Maven targets on the. So let us see if it created a job on the Jenkins. See, this is the workspace. Earlier only sample project is there. Now it created another directory with the job name. And if I go inside that, so it is downloading the code and there is also target created, and under target after some time it will convert that to binary. Now the binary is not available. So after some time, I think it will be available under Game of Life web. Find it's not yet created the binary. Okay, a playbook is getting executed. I think it will fail. The path we have given is Game of Life web target, under that target. So it will not find the file. So it will fail. Could not create permission delete.
I think there was extra space on the path that we gave, the target path. Remember
But the path itself is wrong. Actually, we have to give this path: Game of Life web target, then var file. Okay. Anyway, we'll modify that. Game of Life web target, Game of Life dot var, and the destination is this. Okay.
I think destination path, when you end after HTML, it's the extra path, no? Or space.
Okay, let me remove that, but that should be okay. Anyway, let us remove.
Oh no, there was no. It looks like.
Let's find that. So now,
Do we have Ansible installed on the slave? Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's installed. So this is my Ansible. Ansible. Okay, I think I need to be added, right? So etc Ansible host web servers agent is added, right? On agent, yeah, it's there. So where are we running? We are running on agent node. So what is my playbook? Sample.yaml, and in that I have web server. So it's fine, right? So web servers, and install it. Copy the package to test node to var www html. Let us see if we have given the password for the root. It will execute this time. Okay, so I'll execute it again. So this executing, either I can execute manually or I can change something in GitHub that will only gets executed automatically. So right now I'm executing manually. So it will download. It will execute the test. Okay, somehow it is executing as the user, this user. Okay, something is wrong with the user. We did not create anywhere in user, right? Let me see. Okay, I have given the username as other one. We have to give root. That's why it is saying permission in it. Okay, let me try to execute again. Okay, so this is the flow. Creates a job either based on the demand, or we can create manually by clicking on build now, or we can schedule something like every day at 5 o'clock, or something like based on poll mechanism. So there are three ways. One is click on build now, or schedule something like every day 10 a.m. or based on the check-in polling. There are three options. So either we can click, or we can schedule, or we can poll. There are three ways to schedule a job, right? So generally in continuous integration, we follow the third one, which is polling, right? If you want to build it manually, we click on build now, right? So let us see what is happening. Okay, it is successful. This job got executed. This playbook is executed. Let us see if that var file is copied to the agent, right? This is my agent. Now where did I copy? Var the www.html, and if you see, game of life var is copied to my agent. And what is the time? This is the same time of the machine, right? Just a minute
What was the
ago.
Santosh? So,
Sorry, what is it?
sorry, what was the issue when it was failing?
I gave the wrong user ID. Instead of root, I have selected my GitHub user ID.
Oh, okay.
Here you can see this internally gets resolved to this -u root. Earlier it was, I'll show you it. If you go to console output in the previous job run, and it was -u, and it took the other user ID, which is wrong, right? It has to be root.
Okay.
That's why it failed, saying that permission delete. Okay, this was a previous run, and current run, it has taken the correct user and it executed. Is this clear? It gathered the facts, install HTTP, start the service, copy the var file. So this is the step where it has copied the var file to the test nodes. And if I have any specific operations, then also I can do after this, something like after copying the var, stop the application, start the application, and all that stuff.
So in this case, there's no nexus involved, right? In this case, right?
Yeah, in this case, there is no nexus. Let us say if nexus is there, so how do we write? Let us say I want to pick the binary from nexus, not from the workspace, right? Using Ansible only, we can write another script that will do simply wget from the artifactory and gets executed on the node. So that also we can do, right? So let us say we have the repository, right? Nexus repository. So under this, there are different builds. So there is option to get the latest file from this directory, right? So using a shell script, which is like uses something called curl and wget, it gets the contents, and from the contents we can filter out what is the latest, and from the latest we can build the binary. So that also we can do directly, then copy it to the test nodes and install it. So anything is fine, anything works. Is this clear?
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah.
This is the complete integration. This is the flow. This is the one where if you go for an interview, the discussion starts from here. How continuous integration is set up. So this flow we need to explain to them, saying that this is how we poll, we build, and we copy, and then we deploy, right? And now currently what is happening is what we are using is freestyle jobs, right? But now people are moving to something called pipelines. Okay, so what is the pipeline? So let me create another job. New item. There are two things. One is the Maven project. This is something like everything is executed from the POM, right? And there is something called pipeline, and there is also something called multi-branch pipeline. These two are important. So let us go to pipeline. So I'll just say sample underscore pipeline. So here what happens is we write everything in code. So in Freestyle job, we have given everything in terms of plugins, right? We added GitHub plugin, we added Maven plugin, we added Nexus plugin, we added Ansible plugin, right? So how do we take backup of this? So for every job, for every this thing, there will be a config.xml created in the workspace. So that has all the information. So even if the job is lost, from this config.xml we can restore. But still, this is not like infrastructure as code, right? So we want to write everything as a code. Instead of using the graphical user interface, I should be able to write everything as code. So for that purpose, pipelines are introduced. So using pipelines, it is easy for the developer to develop the job in terms of the code, right? For this, we use something called Groovy scripting. We don't have to learn entire Groovy, but we should at least know how to write a simple stages and all, right? So how do we write the script? What is the first step? First step is to download from the GitHub. So we have, first step is to select the slave. So here we write something like node and we give the label of the node. Let us say slave 1, right? So everything, whatever we do in Jenkins using plugins, we do that using code, right? That is called pipelines. And there is something called multi-branch pipeline. We'll come to that. And these are the advanced concepts of Jenkins. So some of the projects are implemented, some of the projects are not yet implemented. So people are not writing, not using the plugins or freestyle jobs now. They are moving to pipelines and multi-branch pipelines. So if you know the flow of the Jenkins, how it works in pipeline and how it works in freestyle job, it is easy to write the pipeline code, right? So what is the first step? We select the slave, right? Let us say slave 1. So everything executed on slave 1. Now we write something called stages. Right? Stage download from GitHub, something like this. Then we write the code here. What is that? Git URL. We specify the URL, HTTP, something like github.com. The project name. Let us say project 1, right? Then it simply downloads the code. You don't have to give anything. Here we give credentials XYZ, right? So that's all. This GitHub integration is done. So code is available. Next stage is, let us say, execute tests. How do we execute the test? So sh mvn test. We'll see all these things tomorrow in detail. So it's something like a heads up, right? So this sh is like executes the shell command from Groovy. This is the entire thing is Groovy script. From this Groovy script, we are executing a command called mvn test. So Maven test will be executed. Then we have something like stage, let us say package. So this allows different stages and it will show a beautiful pipeline. I'll show you that. MVN package. Then stage, let us say deploy to Nexus. Then I do simply Maven deploy. Then stage execute Ansible playbook. Something like this we write. And then here we write the simple command Ansible playbook or whatever xyz.yaml. So this is a pipeline code. So simply if I use this code, that's all. I don't have to do anything. I simply paste this code here and it gets executed, right? This is pipeline script. So for example, I'll execute something just to show how a pipeline looks like. This is not actually the exact code, but okay, we'll execute this only. Don't worry, I'll explain this again tomorrow. So just a kind of heads up for you. So this is my node. So I don't have any slaves right now. So I'll just leave this so that this gets executed on the master. And see, I'll just have a dummy code just to show you how a pipeline looks like. So what I do is I'll remove everything. I'll just put echo statements. Echo download. echo test, echo package. This will not do anything but simply print the messages just for the demonstration purpose. Echo reply. Echo. Right. So I'll just save this and execute. Let us see how does it look. There is an error. It was showing error in the last line. What was the error? So I opened the brace here, but I did not close it. Save and build it.
So Santosh, this pipeline script is Groovy scripting, you said?
Yeah, this is Groovy. So if you see,
Okay.
it will show all the stages here. Download from GitHub. Okay, something is failed. Block argument is deprecated. Stage, proceed. Echo command not found. Let us see what is the problem. So it will show the stages here. So download from code and all that stages it will show, and it will give a pipeline kind of view. What is a pipeline? Something like a the continuous flow, right? Something like a workflow we are designing. Okay, this is not capital E, this is small e. So whatever so far we have done in freestyle, we are doing that in pipeline, but more programmatic way, more like a maintaining my infrastructure as code, maintaining my this thing as code, right? So if you see the pipeline, this shows in green indicating that it is successful. So download from GitHub took 962 milliseconds, execute text, package, deploy, and execute Ansible, right? So this will show the stages. These are called different stages. And instead of executing it, instead of giving the plugins, the GitHub and all, what I did is I include everything in the code. So for every plugin, there will be a Groovy code. That Groovy code, we need to write it over here and execute it. Or we can keep this file inside the GitHub itself, and Jenkins automatically takes this and executes it, right? We'll see that tomorrow, how to do that. So this is the sample script for SVN. It downloads and execute. And this is the sample script for the actual production script for multi-branch pipeline. This is how it looks like. We'll go through this. So this is like some of the advanced concepts of Jenkins. We'll go through this tomorrow. Okay.
Hey, Santosh, I asked you for the assignments. Like, I mean, did you get a chance to look at, like, if you give
assignments
us
for Jenkins.
couple of projects?
I mean, you want something like exercise?
Yeah, like for example, you give us like use this code for GitHub, use and then use this one for the, you know, like small projects, like couple of projects.
Yeah, I'll give you this entire code. I'll give you the script also. I'll give you so that you can use. So this is for SVN actually, and you can try out if you have SVN repository. And this is for the GitHub. Okay, we'll stop here.